When I touched her on her rib, she shuddered and she said her lungs were filling up with blood. Now, this is what we call a somatic memory. The body is not strictly physical. You can touch certain places, and everywhere you can touch, there's a memory stored. 100%. It doesn't mean you're always going to access it. It just means, is there anywhere in your body you haven't been touched in your lifetime by a person or thing? There is not. So that memory is stored. It's like with hypnotic regression, you can bring it up. So that work I was doing with her was a hypnotic regression somatically based. So you touch the body, you bring up the memories, and she remembered her lungs filling up with blood, and there was just some hesitation. I don't want to die. I don't want to do this or that. That's a really important moment. You have to watch for those moments. You don't want to die. You're living your whole life around you don't want to die. And this was something like what I call an archetypal memory, though it could be a past life memory. And as I said, just let yourself die. Like, I'm here, you're supported. And as she did, this like complete peace fell over her. And we were able to piece together more of the memory. Someone she had trusted had shot her. Seemed like an old West scene. She fell back in the desert, looked up at the sky, and passed away serenely. So what about these pieces that kind of correlate with that? Well, there's like trust and forgiveness, and that played out in intimate relationships. Soon after she met someone she'd spend many years of her life with, and she was able to trust more fully. Because can you imagine if you're carrying in your body this fact that you've been shot? How hard that is to get over, to how hard that is to just give your life to someone else. And isn't that funny? You're trying to move around all your furniture, all the context of your life, you're taking all these courses. What isn't moving? Oh, that bullet wound there? Because no one else touches that point with this conception. Now, how did we find that point? Well, as I glance at you, I can see where you're collapsed and where you're opened up. I see it as a sort of symmetry on either side, and there's one piece that's collapsed. Around the liver, if you're collapsed, that's like there's some anger, and we can just open that up physically. I start with awareness, opening that up with awareness, conversation, experiencing topics. The other day I was on a call with a client, and a little deeper than he was used to going on his trauma. Like, I can see, you want to go 10 layers deeper, you want to go 5, you want to go 3. So we went 3, and then we went to 4, and he was like, oh, like he was hit in the head. This is on a Zoom call. He just experiences pain in the head. Oh, this is so familiar. Whenever I'm stressed, I go like this, Whatever it is, we're going to bring it to the surface. And these things that you're carrying are the things that are holding you back. Are you done with them holding you back? Like, I'm Stephen Budden. I'm a life enhancement expert, and I work with enlightenment services for leaders and creatives. And any kind of blockage, anywhere you're stuck. This is an aura ring, by the way. I keep saying it's shining. Anywhere you're stuck, we're going to move through that. And here's a guarantee. The place you think you're stuck is not the place you actually are stuck. Like, she wasn't coming to me and going, I have a sort of past life memory of a bullet wound and I can't trust in a relationship. She was coming saying, my relationships are unfulfilling. I can't let anyone close. What's going on? Okay. In another instance, a woman came to me, kind of mired in a relationship with the parents of her child who were as narcissists and kept like coming in and out of life in manipulative times. And okay, she was surprised when I knelt down to touch her foot. My foot? What's that have to do with my relationships? We will see. We trust the process. And I saw that as this collapse I was talking about, I saw in the symmetry, which to me 1111 is a callback to symmetry. That's the number that's symmetrical. this symmetry. So I knelt down and touched her left foot and started to kind of manipulate it and move the bones around. Now, if I do this, I'm moving a bone, okay? Some people freak out. You're not a chiropractor. You can't move bones. If you do this, you're moving a bone. So let's not freak out too much. Now, bending and manipulating the foot and touching a certain pressure point, there was a shuddering and more tears than she shed in the last 3 decades. Now, she was thinking about her mother having passed away when she was a child. And this had all been stored and bound up in her foot. You know why it's the left foot? Because the left foot is grounding and stability. The left foot is your feminine relationship to the earth. Whoosh, you don't have a mother, that piece gets ripped away. So it's just trying to walk on these little appendages You'll see people walk very daintily on their feet. It's often because they're not feeling grounded in the world. They've never had their roots. They just aren't really here. I have a family member who walks like that and can barely walk because he lost his parents early as well. There's just not a ground. There's not the roots. There's not the stability. So as we did that, boom. Before she walked in, she was one person. And after she walked out, she was another person. Which one is more fully aligned with who she really is? Do you think the one informed by all of her traumas? Or the one where she can act out of inspiration and actually cultivate her own will? I know I have my idea about which that is. Now, it doesn't mean shame yourself for being locked up in the past. All the work you've done is not lost. You pull out this one cork and the levee breaks, boom, and then you are suddenly free. Now, soon after this, she met someone she got in a much more powerful, beautiful, inspiring relationship. And the staggering and astounding part was I didn't know anything about her parents or parental patterns. I was just exploring through the body what her reality was in the moment. Sometimes I'll say, let's see what your body has to say about this. Because what do I trust least? Someone's mouth, right? It's just blah, blah. The mental chatter. This is why talk therapy is often ineffectual. So I go to the body. What does your body have to say about this? We have one version of the story. Here's the other. The body never lies. It's just containing the truth. Now we learn to hide and use body language. You want to, that's not, I've just done this so long, I glance and I'm like, oh, okay, she's hiding this thing. This is a trauma from around age 5, whatever. And I don't know what that is, so I can't put forth judgment or any kind of diagnosis. That's not even my job. Like, let the hubris of the medical establishment put forth diagnoses that they think are beneficial. Oh, this one marker's off, you have this thing. Let's treat it like this. Down a rabbit hole of destruction. So instead, I just, okay, I'm going to trust. I see that thing there. I'm going to put that note in the background. Anyway, with this client, I did the same thing with her right foot a few weeks later. More tears. What's going on? Like, you carry everything in your feet? Well, she lost her father a few years after that. So it was almost the same pattern on the masculine side. And then we released this huge surge, this huge wellspring of tears. She's like, she sits up and she's like a radiant person. She's a different person. I had seen her as a little bit stilted, kind of muted in her life, like not fully expressed. And then just her eyes open up and she's joking and she's laughing and she's crying and she's so alive. It's like, who is that? And that's what I want for you. I want you to walk into the room and someone to be like, who's that? I don't recognize them. Why is their skin so radiant? Why are their eyes glowing? Why is there this halo that I can't quite see, but I can articulate? So that's what I want for you. Now, there's a build up to this process, and kind of sadly, I'm the only one that does this exact thing, though people go into different layers of it. I trained with a kind of mystical shaman woman who was also super challenging and eccentric, and it's kind of like Gurdjieff, that mentor that's like sometimes a charlatan and sometimes so brilliant, sometimes piercing and penetrating, sometimes abrasive. It's just, what's going on? This 3-year apprenticeship. And then she passed away recently, so now I'm even more inspired to bring some of this to the world. Now, even if I don't touch you and release physically what you are carrying, me even carrying this conception, I realize now that I had this awakening experience and I broke my neck and nearly died, because those both expanded my container of what life is and could be. The only way to do this kind of work is to expand the container, because you're programmed to get stuck on little minuscule pieces of the equation and not see the whole. Don't do it. See the whole, continue to see the whole. You can do this. So again, I'm Stephen Budden. I hope that helps. If you need support, comment Rapture and I'll reach out to you and find out what you need.